Dennis Swingle, 1101 East Chestnut Street, Mount Vernon, for 42 years. And I've been to many, many, many a city council meeting since I moved in there in 1978. What I want to relate to you tonight really dates back to 1979 or 80. I've spoken at many council meetings, been involved in many concerns with relationship to projects in the city. One of the things that I wanted to bring up is the fact that we are all members of the city, not just people who live in the houses and come to the meetings, but all the city council members as well. And they are elected by us. They work for us. They are paid by us. Really, this whole thing that I want to speak about tonight was brought to my attention by what happened to Bruce Malloch in freedom of speech at the end of a meeting. I think that was 3 meetings ago. What I want to talk about is the First Amendment to the Constitution and how it applies to what the citizens are allowed to do when they come to these meetings. There's a statement that was made. I've been on the websites looking for people, cities within Ohio, 31 large cities that are roughly the size of Mount Vernon or bigger, and how they conduct their meetings and what they allow the public to do. I want to commend Mr. Menepace's comment tonight that he wants to hear from what the people want to say, what their interest is, more publicly. That's where I'm coming from. I'm concerned that over the years we used to be allowed more time to speak than 3 minutes. I understand there may be rules that apply that the council can apply to their own individual city, and I know how that works, and that's not breaking the law. But it is, as I have watched over this many years, become more and more restrictive, to the point that one of the points that concerns me the most is the ability of the public to speak during a meeting when an issue is on the agenda. That's the most important time that we should be allowed to express our views, and we're not allowed to speak about that if it's on the agenda. I'll read to you briefly. Mount Vernon, with regard to the 31 cities that I looked at, including Delaware, Findlay, Gahanna, Granville, Lancaster, Marietta, Whitehall, Worthington, Westerville, Hudson. I think a lot of you are familiar with Hudson, has a pretty free system of allowing people to speak on issues. What is said by these cities basically is this, although some of them say it quite differently. When a government decides to offer a public comment, period, at any open meeting, it provides that citizens may exercise their First Amendment rights. Government officials can limit comments to the relevant subject matter, control disruptive or overly repetitive speakers, and impose reasonable time, place, and manner restrictions on speech. However, when government officials create a public comment forum, they have created a limited public forum in which greater freedom, free speech protections apply. The government may not silence speakers on the basis of their viewpoint or the content of their speech. The government must treat similarly situated speakers similarly. In essence, the government must live up to the values embodied in the First Amendment to the Constitution. I ask that this city council is where the public has the most opportunity to make contact. I grant you that special meetings that are public, like you mentioned, are fine. But that doesn't cover the day-to-day business of what goes up every council meeting. And that's where we're not allowed to speak. And I have a problem with that.
Okay, please conclude.
Pardon?
Please conclude.
I'm about done.
Okay.
And I have a problem with a 3-minute rule as well.
Well,
It used to be more than that.
not since I've been on council since 2000, but maybe before that.
Maybe we can fix it next year, because
That comes to the
One
organizational
last-
meeting
one
of
last
council in
point.
January. Okay.
one last point. We elect you, and we can get you out of office the same way.
Understand
Thank you.
that. Thank you, Mr. Swing.